My name is Isaac Newton, and I will be talking to you today about motion and universal gravitation. So, I've been looking back on my life recently, and I doubt anyone who knew me as a child thought that I'd end up here speaking to all of you. But then again, maybe they did. Because as a child, I only wanted to be left alone to read rather than do any of the jobs that I was asked to do. And because I was so useless around the estate, I was sent back to school. And that's where things really started to pick up. I started with Aristotle, as everybody does, and then found Rene Descartes, and something clicked. I was going to figure out the truth. I spent years reading, processing, and thinking about the fabric of the world, of nature, mathematics, and how it all came together. On methods of series and fluxions, and suddenly I was a mathematician. I also discovered the color spectrum through experiments with white light, and all of this was done through the reading and the processing and the thinking about the truths of our world, and the whole cultivation of everything that I had learned and discovered was just my journey that gave me the skill set to discover the 3 laws of motion. The De Motu, or On Motion, was a response to Edmund Halley that expanded on orbital dynamics. It's after this that I decided to go further into it and discovered the 3 laws of motion: the law of inertia, the law of force and attraction, and the law of action and reaction. The law of inertia was first formulated by Galileo and opened some people to the idea that not all horizontal motion requires a direct force, but rather that an object that is in motion will remain in motion unless something else causes it to stop. The second law of motion states that the more force, the more attraction, and force equals mass times acceleration. Then comes the third law of motion, the law of action and reaction, where when 2 things come into contact with each other, they apply equal forces that go in opposite directions. This all goes to show that planets are in fact ellipses. Planets' orbits are in fact ellipses rather than circles. How? The centripetal force that causes objects to travel in a circular orbit is a force that both increases and decreases depending on the mass of each object and the distance between them. Beyond that, every particle of matter in the universe attracts one another. As the sun attracts its planets, the earth attracts the moon, and both the moon and the sun attract the tide. This is the law of universal gravitation. I have dabbled in mathematics, in literature, theology, science, mechanics, and alchemy, and I am completely convinced that these laws of motion can describe all motion in the universe, and beyond that, that God is present in this motion and that we grow closer to understanding Him the more we learn and discover about motion and about science. Thank you.